Week 11 is officially over, and I just cannot believe I'm saying that because this season has literally gone by so fast. Like, we're already moving into week 12. I just can't believe that. But you know the deal. It's my week 11 reactions. Let's just get straight into it. Let's start things off with last week's Thursday night football game, which was the Titans defeating the Packers in Green Bay. Yeah, a great performance from the Titans, honestly. Just a good all-around team performance. Ryan Tannehill, he played great football. Derrick Henry, he played great. He did what he always did in the rushing game, and he also threw a passing touchdown at near the goal line. Treylon Burks had a breakout game after being pretty quiet for most of the season. He finally had a game where he was really on point. And then you got the Titans defense as a whole really limiting the Packers to not be able to get much done as the Packers only scored 17 points. So just a great overall performance from the Titans. And as for the Packers, well, I think this is the final nail in the coffin for their season. They are currently sitting at 4-7 with this loss, and they still got some tough games left on their schedule. So I obviously do not see them winning out. And if they don't win out, they're definitely not making the playoffs. If they won out, they would maybe have a chance, they would have a nice 10-7 record. They might have a chance to make the playoffs. But like I said, I do not see them winning out at all. So yeah, I guess the playoff hopes are just completely gone for the Packers. And there's not even much to take away from them this game because this is pretty much how they've been playing the whole season other than a few games here and there. Their offense just can't put it together. Their running game was pretty much absent this game. And Aaron Rodgers, his numbers on paper look good. He had a good amount of yards, 2 touchdowns, whatever, no interceptions. But he missed a lot, and I mean a lot, of big, crucial throws to open receivers. His numbers look good, but I promise you he did not play that good in game. Christian Watson, who was the only positive thing on the Packers offense, he balled out and caught 2 touchdowns this game. He's a touchdown merchant, by the way. But other than that, yeah, this Packers team just did not have much going for them this game. Titans defense came up big near the end of the game. Titans win this game. And the Packers, well, the Packers suck. Let's just put it like that. That's all I got to say about this game. Let's move on. Let's move on, though, to what happened on Sunday, starting off with the Bears versus the Falcons. And the Falcons, surprisingly to me at least, won this game 27-24. It was a close, competitive game. Justin Fields played all right here. He didn't play as good as he's been playing previously, but he still played pretty decent. If he just had more help, honestly, the Bears would have probably won this game. But obviously, Justin Fields is literally doing everything by himself on that Bears team. So that sucks for him. And yeah, the Bears lost this game. Cordell Patterson had a kick return touchdown, took it all the way to the house. So that's cool. But yeah, not much I really got to say about this one here. This game just really doesn't mean too much in the grand scheme of the NFL right now. So yeah, Falcons take the win here. I'm pretty sure that they're sitting at 500, which I just cannot believe. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that game. Eagles versus Colts. The Eagles win this game, but they struggled throughout. They only won this game by 1 point, 17-16. I've got to say, the Colts with Jeff Saturday as their head coach look like a completely different team. Yes, he's only been coaching for 2 games, and they only beat 1 game. They only won 1 game, that game being against the Raiders, which obviously is not that great of a win. But nonetheless, this Colts team looks a lot better right now than it did earlier in the season with Frank Reich as the head coach. He gave Matt Ryan the starting job back, and ever since then, Matt Ryan's been playing pretty solid. Jonathan Taylor is finally starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm. And the defense actually played really good here, holding the Eagles to only 17 points. But it wasn't enough. The Eagles still find a way to pull out this game here. And the Eagles improved to 9-1. Not really much I can say about this one other than just the Colts. Got to give some shine to the Colts because, they held the team with the best record in the NFL to only 17 points and almost beat them. that deserves some recognition, but at the end of the day, they didn't beat them. The Eagles still find a way to pull out the win here. Let's move on. Jets versus Patriots. Yeah, this game was an absolute snooze fest. Zach Wilson is also a clown. Why is he a starting quarterback in this league? He is legitimately holding the Jets back from being a really good team. They have an awesome defense. Their defense is really good. They were doing really good this game against the Patriots. And then Zach Wilson obviously disappointed. I would actually say he did more than disappoint the Jets defense. But if you ask Zach Wilson himself, he would say no. Patriots win this game off a controversial punt return touchdown with like 10 seconds left in the game. I don't blame the refs for missing those blocking the back calls because I could understand that they probably did not want to be at that game much longer. They just probably wanted to go home. They didn't want to see Zach Wilson step on the field again. So, yeah, I don't blame them for missing those calls. But, yeah, that's all I got to say about this game. Snooze fest. And we've got another one right here. Commanders versus Texans. What is there to say when these two teams play each other? Absolutely nothing. The Commanders bottle up Dameon Pierce this game. He did absolutely nothing. And the Commanders win here. That puts them at 6-5, I think, which is better than teams like the Bucs, the Rams, the Packers, and probably a couple other teams that I can't think about right now. But yeah, the Commanders, they have a pretty easy schedule. Their whole division does. But shout out to the Commanders for playing pretty well. Rams versus Saints. The Rams got Matthew Stafford back this game, and it didn't matter. It did not matter at all. The Rams, unsurprisingly, lose here. They have to be having the worst Super Bowl hangover in NFL history. The Saints, however, they played really good here. Andy Dalton showed out. He played elite this game. And Chris Olave is an absolute dog. He is the best rookie receiver, and he is an insane deep threat. It seems like every time he catches the ball, it's 20 yards downfield. But yeah, the Saints played really good here, get a pretty nice win. I don't think it's that important, though, because I don't see them doing much the rest of the season. And the Rams, they might as well just kiss their playoff hopes away, because they're definitely not making the playoffs after this. I mean, everybody knew that like a few weeks ago, but now they might not even win 5 games this season. And that is absolutely crazy, considering they literally won the Super Bowl last season. Yeah, the Rams, they're poverty. Browns versus Bills. Hey, Jacoby Brissett and Amari Cooper this game was like Joey Montana and Jerry Rice. I don't know why, but they were just on point this game. They were going off. But unfortunately, nobody else on the Browns offense really did anything. Specifically in their running game, I'm pretty sure Nick Chubb didn't even have over 20 rushing yards. And if Nick Chubb does not have over 20 rushing yards for your team, you're obviously not going to win. The Bills, on the other hand, the best thing they did this game was probably limiting Nick Chubb to only 19 rushing yards. But on offense, it was really their running game that was really getting it done for them this game. Josh Allen did not really play too spectacular, but it didn't really matter because the Bills still end up winning this game and ended up getting a nice bounce-back win after what happened last week against the Vikings. So shout out to the Bills for getting the win here in Detroit. Panthers versus Ravens, I don't want to talk about it. That was one of the worst offensive performances I have ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Baker Mayfield, typical Baker Mayfield game. He played pretty horrible. D'Onta Foreman could not get it going this game. The Ravens defense had him bottled up pretty well. And obviously, none of our receivers did really anything great other than Terrence Marshall. I got to say, as of recently, ever since we traded CMC away, it seems like Terrence Marshall has been stepping up big time. Well, not really stepping up because we're still losing, but Terrence Marshall is playing really well as of recent. But other than that, nobody else did anything on our offense. And as for the Ravens, they also didn't have a great game on offense. But luckily, their defense was so good and held us to only 3 points that they didn't have to do anything on offense. And, yeah, that's all I got to say about this game. Panthers suck. Ravens get a typical Ravens win, I would say. Yeah. Lions versus Giants. The Lions win here. I've got to say, I'm pretty surprised. I knew the Lions were going to be competitive this game because that's what the Lions do. They don't just lie down and let teams just steamroll them like the Panthers do. No, the Lions like to actually play football, but I did not expect them to win this game in the manner that they did. They pretty much took Saquon Barkley out of this game. Saquon had 15 carries for a whopping 22 yards. They made the Giants pass the ball. And to be honest, the Giants are actually doing pretty solid in doing that. Wan'Dale Robinson had a great game. By the way, prayers up to him. He suffered an ACL tear. Injuries just suck, man. And then Darius Slayton also played really well this game. But Daniel Jones did throw 2 interceptions, which did ultimately end up costing the Giants the game. Aiden Hutchinson actually picked off Daniel Jones one time in this game, and I'm pretty sure it was actually really clutch. I don't remember much about this game, but I do know Aiden Hutchinson did get an interception here. I also do know that Jamal Williams scored 3 touchdowns this game. He has the most touchdowns in the NFL, excluding quarterbacks, obviously, and I've benched him most of my fantasy season. I don't want to talk about my fantasy team. But yeah, Lions play great here, take the win, and the Giants, I think the Giants, are they frauds? I think so. Raiders versus Broncos, I don't want to talk about these two teams. Derek Carr played good this game. Josh Jacobs played great this game. And Davante Adams played amazing this game. And he called the game in overtime with the game-winning touchdown, which was in overtime. The Raiders take the win over the Broncos here. And I don't want to say anything else about these two teams. They both still suck. Broncos country, we tried. Cowboys versus Vikings. I thought this game was going to be great, close, competitive. It was the complete opposite of that. The Cowboys laid the smackdown all over the Vikings. The Vikings could not get anything going on offense. They scored only 3 points. And that's because the Cowboys' defense is one of the best in the NFL when they want to be. Micah Parsons all over Kirk Cousins this whole game. Trayvon Diggs absolutely locked up Justin Jefferson. Trayvon Diggs is not playing around this season. He has seriously improved, and it is great to see. And as for the Cowboys on offense, Tony Pollard could not be stopped. He could not be stopped. He went absolutely off this game. However, I'm not going to be a casual and say Pollard is better than Zeke because he's not. But I am going to acknowledge how great Pollard has been playing. That's really it, though. The Cowboys just dominated the Vikings, and I think with this game, they proved how dangerous of a team they are. Bengals versus Steelers. This game was actually really good. I didn't watch it, but looking at the final score, it was a really good game. Bengals win 37-30. Joe Burrow went out there and balled out. T. Higgins also balled out. Kenny Pickett continues to play pretty okay for a rookie quarterback. George Pickens played good. Najee Harris finally got his talents back. He ran for almost 100 yards this game and had 2 touchdowns. So that's great to see for Najee Harris. But yeah, this game was surprisingly good. I might go back and watch the highlights to see what was so good about this game. But the Bengals take the win here. The AFC North is really competitive between the top 2 teams, which is the Bengals and the Ravens. The Ravens are currently leading the AFC North, but I think it's going to be a tight race the whole season, like it's already been. Good win here for the Bengals, and the Steelers still suck. I'm just a Steelers hater at this point. At this point, I'm going to embrace it. Chiefs versus Chargers. Every time these two teams play, it's always a great game, but it always ends the same. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce prove their ownership of the Chargers. After this game, I'd say Mahomes is by far the MVP, and Travis Kelce is solidifying himself as a top 3 tight end of all time. But the Chargers did show some fight in this one. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams both came back this game. Keenan Allen, he actually played really well, had a huge catch late in the game for the Chargers, and I'm pretty sure Mike Williams got injured early into the game. So that sucks for the Chargers. Hope Mike Williams gets better. But yeah, Chargers, like I said, they fought hard this game, but they just couldn't get it done because, I don't know, every time they play Travis Kelce, they just don't know what to do to stop him. They wasted an amazing performance from Joshua Palmer, who had 8 catches, 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, if you have Joshua Palmer doing that, you should win. But unfortunately, if the game is within one score, the Chargers are always going to lose. The Chiefs get another win here to prove it does not matter who they have on their team. As long as they have Mahomes, Kelsey, and Andy Reid, they will always be good. And the Chargers continue to be disappointing. The AFC West as a whole has been disappointing this year. A lot of people, including myself, thought the Chiefs were going to fall off and be, maybe third in the division, and thought teams like the Chargers would take over. It's not what happened. The Chiefs are dominating. The Chargers are disappointing, and we're not talking about the other two teams in that division. And then Monday Night Football in Mexico City, the 49ers put together a dominating performance over the Cardinals in which everybody on their offense did great. Jimmy Garoppolo had one of his best games of his career. Christian McCaffrey did great in both the rushing and receiving game. Brandon Ayuk caught 2 touchdowns. George Kittle looked like one of the best tight ends in the league again. Deebo Samuel looked like how he did last year. Like I said, everybody on the 49ers played great, even their defense, because the defense only held the Cardinals to 10 points. Just great performance from the 49ers whole team. The 49ers, man, they are really scary. They are a little inconsistent, which does scare me about them. But when they are good, they are good. And if they continue to play like this, I could see them coming out of the NFC. I could see it. We are finally done with all the games, so now let's move on to my team of the week. Quarterback, I want to go with Jimmy G. But I got to give it to Patrick Mahomes, obviously. 300-something yards, 3 touchdowns, led the game-winning drive down the field. Typical Mahomes performance. I mean, what could you say? That man is so good. Running back, I'm going to go with Tony Pollard. He did great in both the rushing and receiving game, had 2 touchdowns, best offensive player for the Cowboys. In the game, they won by 37 points. Wide receiver, I got to give it to Davante Adams. He had a lot of catches, a lot of yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those, obviously, was the one that called game in overtime. So I got to give it to Davante Adams for wide receiver. I'd say even after he's left Green Bay, he's still a top 3 receiver in the NFL because every week he's still playing absolutely great football. And I'm going to give an honorable mention of receiver. I'm going to throw in a tight end, actually, and give it to Travis Kelce. 3 touchdowns this game, over 100 yards. He did what he always does against the Chargers, which was absolutely own them. And then defense, I got to give it to the Cowboys. They held the Vikings to 3 points. That's self-explanatory. But yeah, that is it for my Week 11 reactions. It was a pretty interesting week of football. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Peace.